You are feeling lost, directionless. That is one of the worst feelings you can imagine. One of the big things that I think everyone needs to understand is you're not alone. Most people are going through things like this. They are feeling a sense of just darkness and uncertainty in their life. And God does have a plan for that. You might not know what it is, but sometimes you go through those hardships and those struggles to make you a better person or to save or help someone down the road and be that light in their life where we don't know why we are getting put through the pain, the doubt, the uncertainty, the whatever it is. And the reality is if you keep going, keep pushing, you fall on your knees, you give everything to God, it will always work out 100% of the time. There's not an instance where it's not going to. It might not be how you plan or how you want. I find myself sometimes when I pray, and I was driving to the gym today and I was thinking about, I'm like, what I was praying about was totally selfish things. And I'm like, man, like, I wish you'd give me a sign. Is this, and I'm doing about my business. And the reality is when we're feeling lost and directionless, it's because we're thinking about the wrong things. We're putting a idol or false God almost above what we're actually supposed to be doing in our life. And that is what I've noticed when I felt more lost or directionless is when I'm chasing my own desires, my own wants, my own needs, money, power, business, success, things like that. And I'm like, God, won't you please just give me the right anything to just push through and make this work and make this happen. And that's all I'm caring about. Right. And I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just like me. Right. So if you're going through that, I challenge you to say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see, am I at all following who I'm supposed to be as a Christ follower? Am I helping someone become a Christ follower that's lost? Am I doing for others? Am I showing love and affection? Am I making sure that I am being the light for others? Or am I worried about my own thing, my own feelings, my own problems, my own family, and being totally selfish about everything? It's very, very easy to get in this habit and feel almost broken. We need to start being selfless and not selfish. The more selfless you are, the happier and fulfilled you are. The more selfish you are, the less fulfilled you are. And with that being said, it's like the most important things is, right, it's God, your wife, your family, but then also loving everyone like your neighbor and everyone, right? Treating people with respect and love and kindness and making sure that we are actually having that in our everyday life, not just being overwhelmed with money and business and status and social media and all that kind of stuff. Being a leader in, say, the broken world we're in, where people are worried about nothing other than fame, everything on the internet, everything online is very sexualized. And that's what we're living in. And we have to realize that we got to really guard our mind and guard our family's minds and our life if we want to be fulfilled. If we're sucking in bad TV, if we're sucking in bad radio, sucking in bad news, how are you supposed to be a leader in your own life, your wife's life, your family's life, anyone's life if you're doing that? It's impossible. You can't be obsessed with the news and obsessed with all of that stuff, obsessed with watching TV shows and all of that negative environment and mind. You're literally soaking your mind in just poison and then expecting to feel great. It's impossible, right? When you could be spending time reading the Bible, helping others, loving others, spending time with your family, doing things that are positive for yourself so you can feel better, like working out, reading, exercising, anything like that is super valuable, right? You have to, like, so I have right here, protecting, providing, loving like Christ loves the church, right? Having those types of ideas and mentality throughout the day. Imagine if we lived more towards that on the daily than not. Imagine if you woke up and the first thing you did is you prayed for not selfish things, but selfless things. God, put your words in me, put your emotions in me, make me feel and be more like you today, and give me the insight to act and do what you want me to do, not what I want to do. Little things like that, I think, are going to be drastically positive for your life. And if anyone says they're negative, they're crazy. Or if anyone says that won't help, they're crazy, right? It's impossible to feel anxiety and burnout when you're doing positive things. If you're waking up early, you're reading positive material, you're not sucking in negative things like the news and social media and all of those awful things out there that just, they live to poison your mind and get you to watch it, right? It's for clicks, it's for eyeballs. That's how they get paid, as viewership and sponsors, by you watching and them making you feel terrorized and unimportant, and anything they can do to get you to watch, they're going to do. So spending time with your family, spending time in your own mind, reading books, spending time with the anyone in poverty, donating your time to the church or anything, right? Things like that. Peace isn't found in comfort. It's found when you like surrender in prayer. Like I went to church this last Sunday yesterday, and I was in there and I was like, man, like all the things they were talking about was hitting really home for me. It was like, I am very selfish. I think, and when I do pray, it's like I'm praying very selfishly, even though I don't think so. I'm like, God, give me your will to like do what I need to do in my business. And it's like, that's still selfish. That's my own desires, my own wants to get him to fulfill what I want, when that's not what we should be doing. We should be a servant saying, tell me what you want me to do and I will do it. I will fall down. I'll knock it out for you. And that's the way that you're going to have a fulfilled life, right? Jesus called us all to be servants, not to expect him to serve our wants and needs and desires. That's super important, that I fail with a lot of the time. And it's very easy to get in that headspace where you're not going to have a happy, fulfilled life if you're doing that. If you're watching TV, you're looking at things that the grass is always greener, you're wanting stuff, you're always just not okay. Try to just read the Bible, try to pray for selflessness and see what happens. See if your anxiety and your burnout doesn't go away, right? Because what's going to happen is you're going to get more energy when you're doing what you want to do and what you're called to do and what you're supposed to be doing than if you're doing something that's not really meant for you, right? And that's a lot of times what happens in marriage. Marriage, people feel very disconnected. They feel like they're not close with their partner. They feel like they don't get them. They always blame them. They never take ownership and accountability for their own actions. It's like, okay, well, this morning, did you wake up? Did you make sure that your mind was clear and good? You woke up early. You prayed. You took care and cleaned up the house, making sure it was good. You made sure that maybe you got her a bottle of water, maybe breakfast made, you guys were ready to go, anything like that. Are you doing all of those things? Or are you just expecting to have her do that stuff for you and then you will put in some of the effort? If that's the case, it's not going to work out, right? You have to serve and be willing to be a servant, and not for a day, not for a week, not for a month. People are like, well, why do I only have to give? Well, guess what? You will be happier serving someone else and doing your all and best than if you don't. And it's not saying don't mention anything that they could be doing or to make you feel any certain way, but don't only say that, right? And just try it for a month, be a complete and total servant to your significant other and see the difference that will happen in your guys' relationship. And there's no way possible that after a month of you doing that, then you bring something up. Hey, when you put me down or do this or whatever, it does kind of make me feel a little bit bummed out. Not saying you need to change anything or I want you to be a different person or anything like that, but understand that my mentality as a man is when I feel rejected or anything like that, I go from here to here. I do not feel valued and respected. And that's one of the biggest things as a man you need. And for a wife, they need to feel loved. When you're doing those little things, you're noticing little things. You're seeing that she gets frustrated when she has to do dishes every single day. You're seeing she gets frustrated when she's the one doing all the laundry and picking up and taking care of the kids and all this stuff. And understanding that it's supposed to be you're serving your partner, and the opposite way as well. They're supposed to be serving you. And if you both are concerned about the other person, then there's not going to be that disconnect. It's impossible because you're loving them unconditionally. And that's what you're supposed to do in a marriage, is love unconditionally. God first, spouse second, children, then the world. And if you do that and you treat it like a covenant, and there's no outs, right? There's no divorce. There's no maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. It's 100% certainty you are committed to that other person and making it work out. That's when you make the decision that it all works out. It's impossible not to, right? Imagine that. Imagine if you did that. Imagine if they did that. There's no way you wouldn't have the most beautiful life for you, for your family, and for other people around you to see that too. The love. When people are like, oh man, don't get married, don't have kids, don't do this, don't. It's like, I think it's so crazy because some of the best things in my life that have ever happened are being married and having kids. It's like kids aren't a weight dragging me down. They're literally what makes me feel so alive and passionate to go do what I do every single day. And one of the hard things with that is when you go into the social media comparison. So do not compare yourself to social media lives where people are taking vacations. They're happy. They're doing this. They're taking a picture out at this nice dinner or festival or music concert or whatever, things like that. When you start comparing yourself to others and looking at social media, that is the best thing that's happening in their life when you're posting it on social media. So if you're comparing your life, everything going on in your life, 100% on other people's top 1% of their life, what's going on, and you expect your whole life to be that, is that realistic? Is that anything that you're going to have those expectations actually become a reality for you, your partner, your family? It's unrealistic expectations, because the reality is we are supposed to struggle as well, because through struggling, we understand more love, happiness, compassion, all those things. If I don't struggle, then I can't understand someone else's struggles. The whole reason Jesus is here is to experience as a human being what we all go through, understanding that there's fear, there's pain, there's desire, there's all these things that we do have real issues with, but there is a choice on that. We can decide what we're going to do, whether we're going to compare ourselves with that social media front. Maybe that's the first step, is not having social media for 30 days. Imagine the difference if you just didn't consume news, didn't consume social media for 30 days, and you focused on reading the Bible. You focused on learning and becoming a better human being, man, partner, father, business person, anything, learning a new skill for 30 days instead. Where would you be at? It's crazy. So one thing I have here is true worth isn't found in likes. It's found in Christ. You will feel more fulfilled and valued and good when you're going to church and you're saying, hey, I'm a servant. I'm going to do nothing but try to be there for other people. Like when you watch those videos, sometimes it's like of people like going and blessing people. It's so freeing and in your heart. It's like, oh my goodness. It was one of the things that I talked about in church was went to Ethiopia, and this family put them up and made them a meal. And for them, it was a whole week's wage for the dinner that they prepared for this pastor, our pastor that went there. And for them, it was like, whatever it was, $100, something like that. And we're like, oh man, yeah, I could do $100. I can bring someone in my house, a pastor, and make them $100 meal. That's pretty easy. I could do that. But when you compare it to the wage that we make here in the United States, that'd been equivalent to like $2,000, whole week's wages. Would you invite a pastor to come in and be like, you know what? I'm going to just like be a servant. I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to get them a meal. I'm going to make sure it's best and make sure they have a great time and just truly love them. How much different would it be if we focus on those things rather than social media likes? It's totally different, which goes into fighting temptation, fighting lust, drinking, old habits, things like that. And I struggle with these quite a bit. I mean, as a man, it's very easy. I grew up drinking alcohol as a kid, continued to do that as I grew up. I still, drink. And it's like, sometimes it's like, man, why am I drinking? Is it to feel a certain way? Is it like, what am I doing? Does it get a positive feeling in the moment and then a not good moment? And like, there's so many variables there where it's like, if you are drinking a lot, you got to say, hey, can't do this at all. Maybe it's just for that day. And then the next day, and then the next day. And you see if that's an actual problem for you. Same thing with lust. Are you looking at every single person? Are you looking and saying, oh, wow, she's so pretty. Oh my gosh. Or are you trying to cultivate what you already have? Man, my wife is so pretty. My wife is so beautiful. I love her. Look at all the little things she does for me. Focus on whatever you focus on is where your heart's going to be. If you're looking at everyone else, then your heart's going to be there. If you're looking at your own life, your own children, your own family, your own life, that's where you're going to have a beautiful flower that comes to fruition from you putting and dedicating that time and energy into doing that and loving them and putting everything, watering your own grass, making sure it's green as possible, right? And a lot of times social media makes it's that hard, but fight those temptations. Many want to change, but feel chained to old behaviors. Don't be who you were, be who you want to be. Every day, make that decision to be the person you are trying to be that day. Do not just go at it willy-nilly without a plan. A dream is what you're doing if you don't change anything or do anything. I mean, that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing again and again, expecting a different result. It's not going to happen, right? You have to have a plan and then the action behind the plan to make something change, or else it's never going to be anything. Like Proverbs 24:16, for though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. I think that's like really hard for some of us to think about, but it's talking about continuing on. You will fall. Right. It's not 1 time. It's not 2 times. Like you're going to fall. You're going to fail. You're not perfect. You're full of sin. But understanding that us trying to love others is a daily goal and plan and aspiration that we're having in our life, to fulfill that is what's going to happen, right? And a lot of us feel loneliness and isolation